I'm sitting in a coffee shop across from a woman, and she has just read my oral. Apparently, it's green. And apparently, that's good. Usually, you don't get to aura reading on a first date. That's date 3 stuff, tops. I mean, you know, read the rules, for God's sake. But we got there. This was about 8 years ago. And 8 years ago, I was not the kind of guy who would be sitting across a woman in a coffee shop, having her read my aura loudly in Starbucks in Friendship Heights. How did I get here? Here's how I got here. Because about 8 years ago, I was a typical DC schlub, dating typical DC women, and not really having all that much success at it. In fact, I felt like I was dating the same person over and over again. And I'm sure the women who dated me felt precisely the same way. And I noticed that it was resulting in a cynicism that was creeping into my interactions with these women. And it was in a sort of feat of self-awareness that I have no idea where it came from. I sort of recognized that this cynicism wasn't going to help me meet the woman of my dreams. And so I might as well take my profile down off Match.com. And it was almost at that precise moment that an email appeared in my inbox. And the subject line said, "You're cute. I think we should meet." Well, flattery will get you fucking everywhere. So I took a look at her profile, and it was pretty clear at the outset that she wasn't the typical DC woman that I've been used to dating. Her username was Firestick Feather. And I read her profile, and again, it was clear from her profile that she appeared to be spending a lot of time in the New Age section of the bookstore. Remember bookstores? Bookstores were fucking great. They were great. And I took a look at her profile, and again, she was into like Wiccan and the healing power of crystals and being sensitive to the vibrations of the universe and being open to the possibilities and potentials of the universe. And I took a look at her pictures, and there were pictures of unicorns and pictures of rainbows and unicorns on rainbows and pictures of her. And she was an extraordinarily attractive woman, but she seemed to be taking her fashion cues from the peasant class of a third world country. There were like bandanas and cheesecloth clothes and drop cloth clothes and clothes that looked like she just made it out of shit she found. And I thought to myself, I said, "Shawn, that's your problem right there. Unlike that woman, you are a typical cynical DC schlub. You're not open to the possibilities and potentials of the universe. Why not take a chance? Why not say yes to the universe?" And so I wrote her back, and I said, "Well, thank you for the very kind words. Yes, why don't we meet? And why not tomorrow?" And I got an email response almost immediately, and it said, "Sounds good. Before we do, Shawn, would you mind telling me the day you were born, as well as the time of day you were born?" And so I'm Mr. Open to the Universe guy, right? I go ahead and do this. I send her this information. About an hour later, I get an email from her, and it's got an attachment. And it's our astrological compatibility. She has basically charted whether or not we would be amenable to each other. Basically, she's saying the universe has countenanced our being together. I'm going on this fucking date. So we meet the next day and we start talking. And let me just say from the outset that she clearly believes everything that's written in her profile. There's not a Machiavellian bone in her body. There's not an ounce of insincerity there, right? In fact, to hammer home how sincere she is, she's an up speaker. Everything she says, the intonation of the sentence ends up. And so, Shawn, I'm really into auras, and yours is green, and that's good. green. Hear that, universe? Green orange. Yeah, all right. And so, Shawn, I channel past lives. Channel past lives. All right, this is really cool, awesome. And so, Shawn, I'm really sensitive to ghosts and spirits. You're sensitive to ghosts and spirits? Yeah. In fact, my apartment is haunted. Your apartment is haunted? Yeah, she says. In fact, Shawn, ghosts come and visit me at night. Ghosts come and visit you at night? Yeah, you know? And also, they try to have sex with me? I can feel my openness to the universe. They try to have sex with you? Yeah, she says, and you know what? Sometimes I let them. I can only blame my cynicism for the following question. So, I ask, how are they? Actually, she says, not bad. And right there, ladies and gentlemen, is where the universe and I drew a fucking line. Right there. and here's why. And gentlemen, you can attest to this. It is difficult enough to compete for the affections and attentions of a woman in this dimension. No matter how good or bad my cocksmanship is, there's no website, there's no manual I can read to get better at sex that would approximate ghost sex. I can't do it, right? And so I basically ended the date right there, and I thanked Firestick Feather for her time. Bid her adieu. And I never heard from her again. And I became, once again, the typical DC schlub, failing miserably at meeting women and having some sort of relationships, or having short-lived, long-term relationships. Until about 2.5 years ago. There was a woman who took my improv class. And after she completed her improv class, I asked her out, and we went on a date. It was a sort of really intense first date. We shared a lot of stuff and discovered there was a lot of similarities. We both had been married, we both had kids in our 20s, and spent most of our 20s raising them while you guys were out like having fun or whatever you guys were doing. We were raising kids, and we both sort of felt like we both worked in the corporate sector, but we felt like sort of punk rockers in disguise. We wondered if we were ever going to be found out, right? So we sort of started dating. And 2.5 weeks after we started dating, I'm once again seated in a coffee shop, and she's sitting across from me, and she's holding 2 tickets to the festival that you've been hearing so much about tonight, called Burning Man. And we had talked about this after right we started dating. I said, look, go to this thing, whatever it is, have fun, and if there's any momentum around this, we'll pick it up when you get back. And she said, look, I've tried to sell this extra ticket twice now, and it keeps coming back to me. I sold it to someone on the West Coast. They actually got a free ticket. It's back. I think the man wants you to go. I think the universe wants you to go. I think you need to be there. And I did not want to go. Because I heard so many of the things that you guys have heard. And I thought to myself, this tribunal that we're about to experience is either going to rip us horrifically apart or bring us closer together. But I said yes to the universe in that moment, and I took that ticket. And I went to that festival with that woman who gave me the ticket. And again, I experienced many of the things that you heard discussed here. The sex and the drugs and the booze and the naked people and the parties, but also people who were vulnerable, people who were open to the possibilities and potentials of the universe. I met a lot of people who looked and sounded a lot like Firestick Feather. And I met them and adored them. 3 months ago, oh, and also, of course, the dubstep. 3 months ago, I married the woman who gave me that ticket. Here's something Burning Man, here's something else that Burning Man taught me. We all sleep with ghosts. We all channel past lives. Thank you.